The revelation that mail bomb suspect Cesar Sayoc had an extensive footprint of support for President Trump and showed tremendous anger directed toward Democrats and the media has ignited the debate over the role of political rhetoric in instigating violence. Independence, Iowa. Senator Chuck Grassley, R. Iowa, sounds like he could be done with Jeff Sessions. Ever since efforts to legislatively repeal Obamacare ended ignominiously with a thumbs down from the late Sen. John McCain on the Senate floor, the Trump administration has been hard at work doing what they can to give families more and better health care choices than what Obamacare saddled them with. In so doing, they have created several welcome escape hatches from Obamacare, or what Phil Kerpen from American Commitment calls making Obamacare optional. We almost made it a whole 24 hours without someone in the news media comparing President Trump to Adolf Hitler, but then the Washington Post's Greg Sargent came along and set the clock back to zero. It's time to game plan against an economic crisis. Florida's Democratic gubernatorial nominee, Andrew Gillum, wants to increase the state's corporate tax rate in order to fund his own pet projects. It's classic left liberalism, the belief that government knows best how to invest money productively. Sen. Kamala Harris on Friday became the latest target in a string of suspicious packages that contained potentially explosive devices, and were sent this week to prominent Democrats, according to multiple reports. McHenry, Bill. A Democratic congressman from a critical Midwestern battleground said explosive hearings to confirm Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh were a drag on his party's momentum heading into the midterm elections. A fingerprint and 2 DNA samples was all authorities needed to arrest Cesar Sayoc Jr. for his suspected role in mailing out more than a dozen explosive devices to prominent Democrats, FBI Director Christopher Wray said Friday. Trade war will not resolve itself. Instead, Washington must be willing to engage with Beijing and restart negotiations. When dealing with the crazy or the bloodthirsty, it is important to be consistent. It would have been wrong to blame Democratic presidential candidate in Sen. Bernie Sanders, Vermont, for the evil man who walked onto a baseball field and started shooting at Republican lawmakers last summer. It would be similarly misguided to blame President Trump for the serial bomber whom we now believe was Cesar Sayoc. Chinese President Xi Jinping is trying to buy an empire through predatory loans to poor countries around the world, according to the top U.S. diplomat. California Attorney General Xavier Becerra said Friday that he doesn't want the news about attempted pipe bomb attacks to distract from the real ticking time bomb of climate change. The Seminole tribe of Florida says the man suspected of mailing bombs to prominent Democrats is not one of their own. The social media accounts of Cesar Sayoc, the man arrested by federal authorities Friday in connection with a string of pipe bombs sent to a dozen top liberals, reveals a look into his deep hatred of Democrats and unwavering support for President Trump. A suspicious package addressed to billionaire Democratic donor Tom Steyer is being examined by authorities, according to media reports.